Hello my friends, welcome back to the den where we're going to have another shave. Today we're using Santa Maria del Fiore Firenze, which is a famous church in Florence, Italy, made by Razor Rock. And it's just because it's in this big heavy jar and I got a whole bunch of it. So I reckon I should use it sometime. I'm just gonna face lather again today. I'm kind of practicing that for later exercises. I noticed today I made a pointed note. It just kind of occurred to me. Boy, I'm grabbing synthetic brushes a lot here lately. Synthetics have grown so good as far as how they perform and stuff that I just like them better for some reason. This is a Badger here today. This is from Sorrentino's Brushworks. I named it R2D2 because of the shape, but it doesn't matter. Our razor today is that one that I was telling you about the other day. This is an SSA that I bought on eBay. Got a good deal on it. It needed a little work. And so it came in just, I guess, when I was just talking about it. I just got it. And here it is. It's a 4/8 SSA. It has a little bit of rust here, and was a little scab right on the toe here. And so I reset the bevel and cleaned it up best I could. And we're going to try it out today. And thinking about today's history, which is a neat one, but it's got a ton of moving parts, so bear with me. I may have to refer to my notes and stuff because that's how complicated it is. Okay, so, let's start back in April. This is the Battle of Lexington and Concord, just as a landmark for the days and stuff. This would be the 21st of April. Just after that, and long before he heard about this, all this kind of a nebulous bunch of things happening in America at that time. People are being independently doing stuff that kind of fits into a big pattern. Well, I guess the governors of the various colonies might have had a conference or something, I don't know. Well, Virginia's governor, what's his name? Dunmore. Governor Dunmore. Well, he gets the bright idea. At that time, the big town in Virginia was Williamsburg. Well, he says, we may have some trouble here, and these rebels may, I don't know if they called them rebels or not, but there's a lot of unrest. So he orders a bunch of gunpowder to be removed from the powder magazine in Williamsburg. It was not just a little bit either. It was 15 half barrels. A half barrel, for you who don't drink a lot of beer, measures about 16 inches across and about, I don't know, 23 inches deep. So it's a hefty amount of well, a lot of beer. It's what, 165 on my notes over here. 165 glasses of beer. That would be 15 gallons or more. That's a lot of, if you can visualize that as far as volume and turn that into gunpowder. Well, they removed 15 of those from the magazine in Williamsburg. Well, you can't move that much gunpowder without people noticing, and they did. And the local militia, or a militia group. I don't know if it's local Williamsburg or not. But the commander of that militia group, you'll know as Patrick Henry. So he's pretty well known. You guys probably know about him and his "give me liberty to give me death." Okay, well, he's in command of this unit. They start moving into Williamsburg, and it scares the heck out of this Governor Dunmore, thinking, "Oh, maybe I did too much." And these things take time, so over the course of a few days, Dunmore gets scared and scared and scared, and he moves away from Williamsburg. He moves himself out and on board a ship. I don't know if that happens, what the exact sequence there, but he ends up, fleeing. And instead of the militia taking any action, they managed to get the British company or something. They end up getting paid. So the British paid the people of Williamsburg £330, which was a lot of money, to pay for that gunpowder that they took out. Which is kind of a big deal, right? Well, Governor Dunmore, he wasn't the one paying the people. And he starts running his mouth. There's nothing new under the sun. Here's a guy who kind of moving beyond where he ought to be doing it. Well, he starts running his mouth, and he puts out a charge against Patrick Henry for extortion. "You extorted the crown, 330 pounds for all this, but we didn't do anything." Well, they did. They stole all that gunpowder from the colonies. Well, or they made off with it. I won't protect us from ourselves, I reckon. Well, that kind of sets the stage, because now people are sure, well, that by charging Henry with extortion, in that order says, it's, if you help him, Patrick Henry, or any of his buddies, you'll get in trouble too. So I told you this is a very complicated story. And we'll call it the Williamsburg, the gunpowder incident is what this is called. I'm giving you a lot of background on it so that you'll understand what happens here. So that kind of settles down a little bit over a couple of weeks. There's a news cycle in those days, very long cycle, because it takes a long time for news to get around. Well, kids, now here's where it starts to get into the meat of what we're talking about today. Kids get curious, And one boy, there's a boy 16 years old. I got his name written down because, where is it? Oh, Matthew Whaley. 16-year-old Matthew Whaley. He either is curious or on a dare, you don't know. These kids goes to break into the powder magazine, probably to see what's in there, or, like I said, I'm gonna put my lens on it because to make it a little more relatable to us. This kid breaks in. Well, he didn't know, nobody knew until that happened, that the British put a booby trap on that damn door. And so in breaking in, it's like I called it a spring weapon or a spring gun. Anyway, Matthew Whaley, he wasn't hurt, he wasn't killed, but boy, he was hurt. And of course, when Local Boy gets injured at a place where the British kind of overstepped and made everybody mad, it caused a big furor. I mean, a huge furor. And that, after that, for sure, Governor Whaley moved out of Gettysburg to stay. He moved onto a ship. I can't remember the name of the ship. I didn't write it down. Well, that, I think, was kind of a galvanizing point. That made, if there were people on the edge in Williamsburg, that moved a lot of them in favor of independence. That was a big recruiting thing. And of course, Whaley was hurt. He wasn't able to participate in the revolution, so he went on to survive the revolution. And there's a school today in Williamsburg, and I got that written down here somewhere. It's Matthew Whaley Academy or something. It looks like I started to write it down, but I didn't finish. But there's a school there with his name on it, which I thought was kind of cool. History's neat, isn't it? That was just a story I was reading about it and what's happening. And as it turns out, that date of all these other dates, 21st of April on through, it wasn't until today's date, this would be the 3rd of June, was when this boy broke into the armory, powder magazine, got himself hurt. And that started a whole nother bunch of stuff running. Great shave, by the way, with the SSA. It took an edge better than I thought, and I used a different technique with that to make this edge. I used a jasper hone, which is a very hard, very dense stone, and I had been using it kind of with the Japanese Nogura stones, or to make a slurry on it. But this time, I'd heard that some people say, just take your diamond plate and run that over the stone. That makes slurry from the jasper itself. You have to do that periodically with this kind of a stone to kind of keep the little microscopic pores open. So I set the bevel like normal on I have a King 1000 grit stone, and I set the bevel, and then I use that jasper with the jasper slurry on there to clean up the bevel after it's been set. And that ended up pretty good. I did strop the bejeebers out of it, but Swedish steel being so hard, you're gonna have you're gonna have to do a lot of stropping and a lot of things to get it to the edge. But now that it's there, this edge will stay for a long time. You just need a little bit of maintenance and stuff, and that's all you'll need. But a great shave, and thank you for coming to see us and staying for this whole talking about, I know I ramble maybe a little bit about history, but it's so neat and so many little parts and so many personalities and stuff that was taking place in 1774, 75, 76. And the personalities stuff doesn't change much. We're just seeing this stuff play over again. That's why they say, watch history. Because if you don't pay attention and think about these things, you're going to have it again. Well, that's the interesting part. I'm going, wow, goodness, look at these people running his mouth and being, and doing stuff, thinking he's helping. He ended up, Dunmore, ended up kind of stepping in it, didn't he? Well, I'm Major Rich, and you can find me at theshavingcodger.com. Like and subscribe if you're so inclined. And, yeah, subscribe if you're so inclined. And we'll see you next time for another interesting story. Bye-bye.